Trump, as we said at the top of the hour, getting set to honor Team USA, but also pushing a positive 2026 economic outlook, even though many Americans, if you look at the polls, say they don't feel very positive about things right now. White House correspondent Libbey Dean is live for us on the North Lawn. Okay, Libbey, what's the latest on a Friday from the White House?
Well, Connell, President Trump went on this posting spree this morning on Truth Social, touting the economy and painting a much different reality to how Americans are actually really feeling this holiday season. But there are some positive signs on the horizon here, with all signs pointing towards a growing economy next year. But the reality right now is that everyday cost of living is really putting the White House's message here to the test. And that messaging isn't easing concerns with President Trump calling affordability a Democratic hoax, as we've heard him say in recent days. And we actually saw that front and center on Tuesday when President Trump was in Pennsylvania, where he was touting those lower gas prices and a healthy stock market. Those two things the president really honed in on during that speech. And then just a day later, we actually saw another good sign, and that was the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates for the third time this year. That did, of course, signal that confidence from the central bank that the economy is in good shape. And the president has also said that it's not enough, though, as he does weigh who he wants to be the next Fed chair when the current Fed chair's term is up in the spring. Here's the president.
He did I would say, a rather small number that could have been doubled, at least doubled.
And with the holiday season in full swing, the administration is also setting something for Americans to actually look forward to next year, aside from the economy. But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says Americans could actually get refunds of up to $2,000 per household as a result of Trump's spending bill. Of course, we saw that signed into law at the White House back in July here. And that's likely that we hear something that we hear President Trump tout when he does hit the road again. Sometime this month is when a White House official tells me to expect that. We'll see what state he plans to go to next time after that Pennsylvania stop. But before that, we actually are tracking the vice president's remarks in Allentown, Pennsylvania on Tuesday of next week, Connell. So the White House really going all in here on the economic message ahead of the midterms.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Vance following up Trump in the same state in Pennsylvania. At the same time, I think what you said at the beginning is also worth noting, and that's that the economy is expected to actually, in terms of growth, be a little bit better next year than it was this year. I mean, Jerome Powell actually said that in his press conference the other day, the current Fed chairman. That said, there'll be a number of challenges for this administration. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Connell, I mean, the overall test here is going to be how Americans are feeling and if the administration can actually deliver on making those everyday goods more affordable for Americans. And that is likely something that the president is going to talk about. But there are these couple of things to watch for. As you mentioned, this overall inflation rate will be this big test, because right now we do know that inflation rate, it sits just under 3%, which is about the same time or same amount as it was last year. But the White House, they do continue to tout this lower inflation because it did lower from that peak during the Biden administration. That's something we heard from the White House press secretary just yesterday, the president himself. Now, with that, though, there are these two big unknowns heading into the next year that are worth watching. That first up is the Supreme Court. They're set to rule on whether or not Trump's tariff agenda is legal. That would potentially uproot the president's economic agenda if they do ultimately rule against him, because we've seen him use tariffs throughout the entirety of this year of his second term. And then the second thing to watch for is any changes, as I mentioned, to the Federal Reserve with the chairman, Jerome Powell's term that expires next spring. And we know that President Trump right now is weighing potential replacements for that job. He even said on Air Force One when we were aboard a couple of weeks ago that he has picked someone. He wouldn't say who that is just yet, but we could hear more about that this afternoon. Connell, the president is participating in that bill signing ceremony. As you mentioned here at the White House, things are off to a little bit of a delayed start there, though, with press not gathering just yet.
Par for the course. Yeah, it's interesting, especially on the tariff ruling. Ruling against the president, and this is what's interesting, might not necessarily be an economic negative, be negative for him, but there's an argument to be made it could help the economy. So that's one thing to watch as well. Libbey, thanks.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.